Please be seated. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lori Kramer, and it's my pleasure to welcome you and preside at this year's convocation of the College of Agricultural, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences. Today is a day to treasure as we celebrate the many achievements of our graduating students. And it's also a very special day. I'll call it Mother's Day Eve. Joining me today on the platform are faculty, administrators, and friends of the college, and I'd like to introduce a few of these individuals to you now. You'll get to meet others as we progress through the ceremony. Please stand as I introduce you and remain standing, and we'll then recognize the entire group. First, Dr. Robert HAUSER, the Dean of the College of ACES. Dr. Joseph Cocchini, Associate Dean for Research. Dr. Robert Haft, Associate Dean for Extension. Dr. F. William Simmons, Assistant Dean for Curriculum and Honors. Ms. Catherine Martinson, Assistant Dean for Admissions and Records. Dr. Jesse Thompson, Assistant Dean for Diversity Programs. Dr. Jason Emmert, Assistant Dean for Student Development and Career Services. Ms. Jennifer Naff, Director of Career Services. Ms. Meredith Blumthal, Director of Education Abroad. Ms. Holly Herrera, Coordinator of ACES Transfer Programs. And Ms. Barbara Anderson, Academic Advisor. Please recognize these key leaders of the college with your applause. And if I might, I'd like to invite all of the faculty members and advisors who are here with us today to also stand and be recognized. We're indebted to these individuals for their tireless effort on behalf of our students. Thank you. You know, in the College of ACES, we consider ourselves to be a family. Students, you left your home to enter our family 4 years or so ago, and even though we now join with your parents to send you out into the world, please know that just like your own family that you grew up with, you'll always be a member of our family, long past graduation. I've spent a great deal of my professional career studying what it takes to be a strong and resilient family, a family that can raise children to be successful adults. Although we've learned quite a bit about this, in some ways it's still a mystery as to how parents can take a little baby and nurture him or her so that they can stand on their own, learn, work, and ultimately give back and care for others. Parents, look at our students today. This is a marvelous achievement. I imagine that when your child was born, you hoped that all your love and commitment would lead your child to great success. Isn't it wonderful to see that hope be realized today with your child's graduation from the University of Illinois? Parents, think back. What was life like when our graduating seniors and graduate students came into the world? Most of this year's baccalaureate class were born in 1990. George Bush I was president. The Gulf War began. The Hubble telescope was launched into space. San Francisco won the Super Bowl. Driving Miss Daisy won the Oscars. And Bert and Ernie were still putting down the ducky. But there were no cell phones. Although computers were becoming more prevalent in the workplace, email was just not commonly available. You couldn't text message or IM. You couldn't order something off the web, download music from iTunes. You couldn't post your home videos on YouTube or use a GPS to find your way or check your status on Facebook. Goodness knows you couldn't even tweet. Forget about watching your lectures replayed on podcasts or conversing with classmates in online discussion groups. And you certainly couldn't complete a master's degree online while living full-time in beautiful Hawaii, as one of our recent graduates in crop sciences has done. One has to wonder how mothers and fathers ever managed to raise their children under such deprived conditions. And as they say nowadays, there was just no app for that. And graduates, think about what life was like for your parents' generation, the early to mid-1960s. John F. Kennedy defeated Vice President Richard Nixon for the presidency. Your parents were young children when he was assassinated. The Beatles hadn't yet made it to the U.S., but they were playing in Hamburg, Germany, hoping to cross over the pond to make a splash in the U.S. The most popular film back then was Psycho. American Bandstand was the hot show on TV. And when they were in college, and remember that not all parents had that opportunity, they wrote their term papers on something called typewriters. Panty raids were a big source of excitement on campus. They called home once a week on a telephone that had a cord. And when they needed to ask their parents for money, they probably wrote a handwritten letter. Yeah, our world has changed dramatically across the generations, yet some things have not changed. The value of a solid education will always be prized, and the true support of family and friends are the essential ingredients of a successful life. Graduates, we hope you keep this fact in sight as you soar to new levels and begin your own families. This day belongs to the graduates, but we know that the parents, grandparents, partners, siblings, other family members, spouses, and special friends all contributed their support, their love and understanding, and their resources to ensure that today would finally arrive. We honor you today through the recognition of your children's accomplishments. Graduates, join me in thanking your families and friends for all they have done for you. Can we have the parents, especially the mothers, please stand today so our students can recognize you? It's hard to see. Thank you. It's truly a family affair that makes this success happen. I'm pleased to say that your participation this afternoon makes this one of the largest ACES Convocations ever. And I'm also happy to say that graduation has become more technologically sophisticated. Our ceremony today is being broadcast all over the world on the internet so that the families of our international students can be a part of our celebration. And guess what? We even have someone tweeting, narrating our ceremony online. So talking about being a lifelong member of the ACES family, I'd now like to introduce Mr. John HUSTON, who serves as the current president of the ACES Alumni Association. Mr. HUSTON is a 1966 graduate in agricultural education who was recognized at that time as the College of Agriculture's outstanding senior. Mr. HUSTON spent 32 years with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and ultimately became their executive vice president. Mr. HUSTON has been a most loyal alumni and has given back to the College of ACES in many ways. In 2007, he received the Abraham Lincoln National Agricultural Award for his outstanding achievements in American agriculture. It's my pleasure to introduce to you John HUSTON, ACES Alumni Association President.
It is an honor for me, on behalf of the College of Agriculture, Consumer, Environmental Sciences Alumni Association, to extend a hearty congratulations to each of you. When Dean HAUSER hands you your diploma today, how many ACES alums do you think you will be joining? 32,405 ACES alums. Yes, that is 32,405 current alumni representing all 50 states. Like the old Chevy commercial, see the USA in your Chevrolet. you have the opportunity to see the USA with your ACES degree. ACES alums also live and work in 101 countries around the world. So with your ACES diploma in hand, you have earned opportunities both nationally and internationally. The ACES Alumni Association can help you stay connected to this special place wherever your journey takes you. In closing, may your future be filled with exciting new places, great opportunities, and wonderful adventures.
Thank you very much, Mr. Houston. Dean Robert HAUSER joined the University of Illinois in 1982 after earning his PhD in agricultural economics at Iowa State University. After many years on the faculty in the Department of Agricultural and Consumer Economics, he served as head of that department for 2 separate terms. In 2009, Dr. HAUSER was appointed Dean of the College of ACES. He was also recognized as the Clearing Corporation Foundation Professor. Please welcome Dean HAUSER.
Good afternoon. And I'd also like to skip ahead a day and wish you all a happy Mother's Day. It's my pleasure today to introduce 2 very special guests with us. But before doing that, I'd just like to make very few remarks to our graduating men and women. I know 2 things about you, at least 2 things about you. The first is that you came here today to graduate, to celebrate, but not necessarily to listen to some guy from the dean's office go on and on and on. So I'll be very brief. The second thing that I know is that, unlike the first point, this is something that you probably do not fully appreciate today, but that is you are now eligible. You are now eligible to be proud, very proud alumni of the University of Illinois and the College of ACES. And I would like to ask you to take full advantage of that status because you are now alumni of one of the greatest universities and one of the greatest colleges in the world. Now, that alumni status gives you license to do a few things. Okay? For example, you can brag a little bit. Brag about it. You've done it with the best. You can recruit future graduates. Some of you will be in that role. And so you'll come back here and you'll get the best students available from the University of Illinois. You can encourage others to take the same path that you did. Tell those future students about your experience. Tell them about the experience that you've had and that they can have the same. And finally, you can give back. You can give back to the university. You can give back to the college in many ways. It might be in the form of serving on advisory committees. It might be on alumni boards, development efforts. There will be plenty of opportunities in many different forms. Think about giving back. So now you can brag, recruit, encourage, give back, and do many other things now, and you will. And you will if you remember the only take-home message that I offer today, which is be proud alumni. Okay, so I would like to now introduce 2 special guests. Our first guest is Mr. Orion Samuelson. Widely regarded as the best-known agricultural broadcaster in the United States, Orion serves as Agribusiness Director at WGN Radio in Chicago. Born on a dairy farm near La Crosse, Wisconsin, Orion considered becoming a Lutheran minister before deciding on 6 months of radio school instead. Today, he has heard over a syndicate of 260 stations, broadcasting his daily National Farm Report and weekly commentary, Samuelson Says. There are not many people who do not recognize the voice of the Big O. Orion has been the recipient of countless awards and honors, including the American Farm Bureau's Distinguished Service Award and the National 4-H Alumni Award. He is the only broadcaster in the nation to receive 2 Oscars in agriculture, one for radio, one for television. In May 2001, Orion was named a laureate of the Lincoln Academy of Illinois and received the Lincoln Medal. This is the highest award given by the state of Illinois, and then a week later, the University of Illinois presented him with an honorary doctoral degree. Orion was inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame in 2003. A close friend of the College of ACES, Orion will deliver the commencement address at the campus-wide ceremony tomorrow afternoon. Orion, thank you for joining us. We are pleased and honored that you could be with us today, and I'd like to ask you to just say a few words, if you would.
What an absolutely magnificent, wonderful, never-to-be-forgotten day on this campus for your parents. This is ETC Day, the end of tuition checks. But for the students, it is the beginning of loan payment checks, too, probably. Thank you for the opportunity to greet all of you on this very special day. Being a doctor of the University of Illinois is one of the greatest honors I have ever received. And I can tell you that the next chapter in your life, when you leave these halls and go into this world, will be a world of unknowns, but you will be far better prepared to deal with those unknowns because of your education at this world-class university. And in my 78 years on this planet, I can say one thing with absolute certainty: you cannot dream big enough. I know that personally, because of all of the things that have happened since I quit milking cows in Wisconsin many years ago. So my challenge to you is to dream big and then make that dream a reality. God bless you.
You have no idea of how many times I've said, geez, that's a hard act to follow. Our second guest, our convocation speaker, is Lynette Marshall, who is now the president and CEO of the University of Iowa Foundation. But fortunately for us, Lynette has spent most of her career in our college. Lynette grew up on a fifth-generation farm in Spear, Illinois. She earned 2 degrees from the University of Illinois, a bachelor's in agricultural science and a master's in educational policy studies. And she has a son who's graduating here this weekend in engineering, getting his master's. Lynette served the University of Illinois for 23 years, beginning in 1983 in the College of ACES as the college's first development officer and then as our first associate dean for advancement. Lynette started her career as a one-person unit with a one-room office in the basement of Mumford Hall. And not many of you students have probably even been in the basement of Mumford Hall. It's not some of our prime office space. But from there, her career skyrocketed to 4th floor Mumford Hall. And I know that because I was a young assistant professor on 4th floor trying to prove myself. But I knew of one person down the hall who worked harder than me, who was smarter than me, and who was certainly more charming than me. And she certainly made me wonder whether I even had a chance. But anyway, the college was fortunate to have Lynette for almost 20 years, and she then moved up to campus administration as an associate chancellor. Lynette is a leader. And we all know that when other Big Ten schools need athletes, need great students, and need leaders, where do they come? Illinois. And in this case, the University of Iowa stole one of our best. Lynette became president of the University of Iowa Foundation in August 2006. And in her years at Iowa, the foundation has experienced record performance and growth for people and programs throughout the university. From an Illinois farm to the basement of Mumford Hall to the University of Iowa, and now back home with her ACES family, please join me in welcoming Lynette Marshall.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Congratulations. What a joy to see all of you and to be able to be with you here today. I agree with Dean Hauser. This is a time for you to be proud. Commencement is always one of my favorite celebrations of the year. I love seeing the graduates lining up on the quad to get their pictures taken. Today, perhaps you were with some of the people who were lined up clear over to Follett's waiting to be in front of the alma mater. It's a joyous time, and it's fun to see the proud families beaming as they understand the importance of the transition that you graduates are about to make. So when Dean Hauser generously invited me to come home and participate in today's ceremony, I was absolutely thrilled. Like your family, as he said, ours has a very special reason to celebrate this weekend as Michael receives his master's in computer engineering and will process across this stage tomorrow. We're proud of you, Michael, and we love you. This is a homecoming for me in so many ways. I received my bachelor's and graduate degrees here. I lived and worked here for nearly 25 years. I was married here, and this is where our children were born. I've buried friends here, and I've celebrated some of my life's greatest milestones here. And most of those experiences were when I was working for this great college. And with each year that passes, I'm away from here, I understand in new and different ways the power of everything that I learned here. You've probably heard of Robert Fulghum's book, Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. But that's not true for me, as I believe that much of what I know and believe and value, I learned right here, working on behalf of this College of Agriculture, now College of ACES at the University of Illinois. I learned from the faculty, many of them are still in the front rows here. I learned from the staff, who taught me so very much. And I learned from the hundreds of students of the College of ACES that came before you. I owe so much to so many people here. And in preparing for my conversation with you today, I have concluded that the most important thing that I learned from the College of ACES is the title that I chose for my remarks today, which is Be Well and Stay in Touch. Now, you might know that I paraphrased this from Garrison Keillor's Writer's Almanac. The full line, as you might know, is be well, do good work, and keep in touch. Staying in touch can mean so many things. It means nurturing important friendships and reaching out to others. It means expressing gratitude to those who've helped you. And it means being generous with your resources. In fact, my own experience has shown me that staying in touch has actually helped me be well. My friendships and my connections here nurture my soul and feed my spirit in a way that nothing else does. I've spent much of my professional life as a fundraiser staying in touch with alumni and friends of this college and this university as I developed relationships with those donors who would so generously support the university. I had the privilege of working with the faculty and administrators in raising money for the most important priorities, and most of those were to help you, the students of this college. This college has been deeply important to my family. Two of my siblings are also graduates of the College of Agriculture. As Dean Hauser said, we were all reared on a fifth-generation family farm north of Peoria, and I was involved in all sorts of the same kinds of activities that some of you probably were if you grew up in a rural area or a small town. You see, my graduating class had 27 students in it, and 2 of us went off to college. So I thought I was going to be alone in this vast place called the University of Illinois. And perhaps like you, a few years ago, I was incredibly intimidated by its size and by the rigorous academic challenges that I knew awaited me. But I was thrilled to be among the thousands, literally among the thousands, where I could reshape myself inside this world-class institution. And to this day, I have an incredibly clear memory of walking across the quad as a naive freshman and seeing the blankets spread on the lawn and the saffron robes and the shaved heads of the Hare Krishna devotees singing and chanting and thinking, yes, I am not in Sparland anymore. I was at the University of Illinois. And what I didn't know until I was on campus as a freshman was how many students I would actually already know because of 4-H and FFA experiences. And indeed, it was the beginning of my understanding of the power of staying in touch and the power of being engaged in the life of this institution and the people that make it so very special. Now, I have to admit that staying in touch came naturally to me. As a child, I remember our family vacations as road trips in the Ford station wagon, going from one friend's home to another. Sometime that friend's home was the vacation destination, and sometimes it was just a stop along the way. So in many ways, my parents, who I am happy to say are here today, were my first teacher and role models for staying in touch and being well. Immediately after I graduated from the College of Agriculture in 1983, I had the experience of a lifetime and spent 6 months in what was then West Germany on an international 4-H youth exchange program. I lived with 7 different host families for 3 weeks each, and I learned about the language and the culture and agricultural practices and the history of West Germany. When I returned to the United States with lots of other young people who had been in different places around the world, we gathered together at the National 4-H Center for a debriefing session. And the lasting message that we were given and that I took away from that very memorable debriefing was the importance of maintaining the ties with those families who had opened their homes to us, many of us not even speaking the language of the nation in which we were living. Indeed, the imperative again of staying in touch. I had a 50th birthday last year, and I was thrilled when it was made all the more special when one of my host brothers and host sisters came from as far away, indeed, as Germany, all the way to Iowa City to help me celebrate. It exemplified the power and the gift of staying in touch. So today you're embarking on a new life's journey. It's the next stage. As proud parents, we are thrilled to watch you moving ahead with the amazing benefits of a world-class education from the University of Illinois and from the finest college of its kind in this nation. As you look back on your time at the University of Illinois, I encourage you to reflect on those who made it possible, your parents and your family, the faculty and the staff who supported you, the donors who gave gifts that supported things that gave you a rich and diverse university experience, and your friends who provided support and sustenance when you needed it most. So today I leave you with a couple of assignments in preparation for your next final exam. Keep up on the news of the college and the university. You are its best advocate and its best cheerleader, and it needs you and will continue to need you. Commit to keeping in touch to those people who have made a difference in your life from the College of ACES. Maybe it's a faculty member or one of the assistant deans. Maybe for you, like it was for me, it was a secretary that helped me through those initial bouts of homesickness and helped me adjust. Keep those people in your life. You will be better for it. And here's the fundraising pitch. Make your first gift to the College of ACES and do so every year thereafter. It is an investment that will cause you to care more over the years, and you will be amazed at the meaning that it generates for you. You will feel more connected than ever before. And finally, be well and stay in touch.
Thank you, Dean HAUSER, Dr. Samuelson, Ms. Marshall. I'd now like to invite Assistant Dean Bill Simmons to the podium. Dean Simmons will introduce the Bronze Tablet recipients and acknowledge our James Scholars.
Thank you, Dean Kramer. Welcome, everybody. The James Scholar Program involves some of our top students who graduate with a 3.4 average or better, including a capstone experience when they do a research project with our world-class faculty. It's an excellent program. I'd like to do a biography of all the students that are James Scholars. Time won't allow me to do that. I'll tell you a short story about a James Scholar that visited me recently and said he had a problem he was trying to get worked out. And I said, Stanley, what's wrong? He said, well, I've got to decide between 3 destinations for law school: Harvard, Yale, and Stanford. So these are the kind of problems that our students run into when they finish a degree at the University of Illinois. We had a young man who came here 3 years ago from Princeton, Illinois, to join us. And so now I can factually say that we've had students that have left Princeton to come to the U of I and left to go to Harvard, Yale, or Stanford. So it's a pretty good group. Would the James Scholars please stand at this time and be recognized? Thank you. We have another group, some of which have dual membership with the James Scholars, and these would be the Bronze Tablet recipients. The Bronze Tablet is a special award at the University of Illinois. You have to finish in the top 3% of your class academically. It's one of the few opportunities you get to have your name engraved somewhere while you're still alive. This is a special deal. And so these folks, mathematically, you recognize that we have to have 33 people enter our college for every one that becomes Bronze Tablet, since it is the upper 3%. I'd like to read their names and have them stand, and we'll hold our applause till the end. Anna Beyer, Rita Botball, Allison Carlson, Jacob Cross, Nicole Diekey, Hannah Ehrenberg, Whitney Hill, Amy Keir, Amanda Krause, Andrew Lindgren, Amelia Nora, Sarah Ozawa, Citra Harjo, Ross Recker, Carissa Stangaroni, and Margaret Tooney. Let's have a round of applause for our Bronze Tablet. I'm still troubled about a conversation I had with one of these recipients recently at a social gathering. I asked, if you don't mind me asking, what was your GPA? I got a stone-cold look back, 4.0. I said, did you get any questions wrong on any tests while you were here? I got a little smile. I don't know what this means, but these are pretty good students. Once they get driver ed and physical education out of their curricula, they were quite successful from that point on. So, just one group I'd like to recognize, the top 3%. I want you to understand that your accomplishments have been built upon the base of the 97%, your lofty achievements. Let's have a hand for those students as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dean Simmons. The University of Illinois is a world-class university because its graduates are world-class people. On behalf of the faculty of the college, it's my pleasure to present to you the candidates for baccalaureate, master's, and PhD degrees from the University of Illinois College of Agricultural, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences. A representative of each department will introduce the degree candidates. I now ask Professor Casey Ting, Department of Agricultural and Biological Engineering, to begin the degree conferral process.
Thank you very much, Dean Kramer. Will the degree candidates from the Department of Agriculture and Biological Engineering please approach the platform? It's very dark to see if they're moving. Right there. Okay, it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Kaustubh Pallerol. He will introduce the degree candidates from the Department of Agriculture and Biological Engineering.
Darius Abercrombie, Levi Allen, Kyle Becker, Michael Benson, Coleman Charles, Mark Colgan, Andrew Delheimer, Sean Denny, Matthew Dunn, Daniel Egan, Dustin Eimer, Ryan Engel, Neil Feuerhelm, Catherine Gagliardo, Yuchun Fu, Michael Ginzi, Michael Hernandez, Theodore Horde, Ross Horton, Paul Hunsinger, Cherry Kim,
Gallagher. You forgot Gallagher.
Kyle Gallagher, Blake Lehman, Yaorong Lee, Andrew Maliwat, Siddharth Mehra, Chinedu Ojinkewe, Matthew Pence, Matt Perot, Thomas Petrusek, Katie Lynn Pistello, DeBeonte Porter, Jordan Robinson, Matthew Schallenberg, Stephen Sirio, Matthew Schweitzer, John Skolka, Richard Turner, Jared Wheeler, and Maxwell Wilquet. Following are the graduate students: Rekha Balachandran, Master of Science in Biological Engineering; Shinya He, Master of Science in Off-Road Equipment Engineering; Yushin Huang, Master of Science in Off-Road Engineering; Menglin Liu, Master of Science in Off-Road Engineering Equipment; Fu Ouyang, Master of Science in Off-Road Engineering Equipment; Chanwan Wu, Master of Science in Off-Road Engineering Equipment; and our PhD student, Shifang Chen, in Biological Engineering.
Technical Systems Management and ABE degree holders, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Congratulations. I'll now invite Professor, Department Head Paul Ellinger, the head of the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Economics, to present the degree recipients from that major. I'll also mention that Dr. Ellinger is here doing double duty today, not only is he department head and going to congratulate the students in his unit, but he is also the proud father of Joe Ellinger, who's going to be receiving his master's today.
Thank you, Dean Kramer. It's an honor and privilege to introduce the 2012 class from the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Economics. Ann Finnegan, a Director of Undergraduate Advising, will be reading the names of the undergraduate students. Dr. Alex Winter-Nelson will be reading the names of the graduate students. If the faculty members from ACE want to help join me on the stage, they can do this time as well.
Juan Alonso, Kevin Alsterda, Dustin Aylesworth, Yang Bai, Young Bai, sorry, Corey Baljaman, Sarah Bell, Alicia Biesinger, Joseph Brenner, Jared Brown, Jeffrey Carls, Megan Carroll, Samuel Castellanos, Michael Cessna, Jordan Chandler, Austin Cheng, Min Jung Chue, Nicholas Condi, Lisa Cooper, Aaron Corkery, Carlos Crespo, Ryan Curry, Nicholas Deerwester, Matthew Dellinger, Frank DeVito, Michael Doherty, Joseph Ellinger, Alyssa Falk, Sam Fatagato, Michael Therick, Joanna Flojo Ramos, Marcus Foster, Jay Landon Free, Kyle Godowski, Kyle Grabenstetter, Alexander Groff Sue Revenslow, David Gray, Shayna Greenberg, Ross Hager, Ward Hall, Matthew Hammock, Christopher Harrell, Alex Head, Dana Hennert, Clinton Herman, Alexandra Hill, Dee Hu, Adam Hudoba, Michael Icaponi, Patrick Holland, Henna Joffrey, Timothy Janeway, Shin Young Jo, Mohammed Faraz Kamran, Stephen Kawasaki, Ethan Cook, Eric Kruger, Rory Lamkin, Nicole Lewis, Yuan Yao, Sean Litza, Ryan Mays, Brian Mullen, Jeremy Mandel, Justin Mason, Allison Mayer, Clinton Meyer, Brian Nelson, Nathan Nimrick, Jeffrey Nitti, Daniel O'Connor, Megan Polachek, Josue Pernillo, Joseph Pesavento, Mary Peterson, Thomas Phelps, Kyle Perino, Jacob Preskill, John Preby, Christopher Puntini, William Rapp, James Rear, Clayton Reiser, Philip Rich, Sarah Rogie, Joseph Rondinella, Ty Schutt, James Shield, Michael Sisto II, Christopher Skopek, Kramer Sebbing, Lindsay Sparrow, Zachary Steffen, Elizabeth Steeker, Jordan Stein, Dustin Stern, Travis Surma, Daniel Chesney, Kevin Thorpe, Emily Trapicio, Anna Sang, John Ulbricht, Anna Volkova, Grant Walter, Kyle Wanner, Nicole Weber, William Weber, Xiao Zhang, Nicholas Zito. And now Dr. Alex Winter Nelson will read the names of the graduates receiving the Master of Science degrees and the Doctorates of Philosophy from the Agricultural and Consumer Sciences Department.
Receiving the degree of Masters of Science in Agricultural and Applied Economics, Laurent Combier, whose thesis was on farm profitability in Illinois and Brazil. Lingling Fan, whose thesis was on food security in rural China. And it's my honor to introduce to you the recipients of the PhD degree in Agricultural and Applied Economics, Seda Draguner, whose research was on lending. She's being hooded by Professor Paul Ellinger. And Sena Dorguner, whose research was on applied finance, being hooded also by Professor Paul Ellinger. Finally, Sangjan Nam, also being hooded by Professor Ellinger. Dr. Nam's research was on structural commercial bank lending, in agriculture.
Okay, ACE degree holders, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Congratulations. Excellent. I'd now like to introduce Professor Katie Abrams, who is the Program Director for the Agricultural Communications Program, and she will present the graduates from AgCom.
Good afternoon. Earning a degree of Bachelor's of Science in Agricultural Communications, we have Kristen Marie Aberle, Janelle Marie Baum, Hannah Marie Butcher, Audrey Jean Cox, Kristen Nicole DeSutter, Renee Elizabeth Duth, Michelle Lee Flutie, Victoria Rose Frobish, Jill Ann Johnson, Janine Isabel Larson, Ashley L. Lavella, Emily Nicole Moore, Taylor Scott Robinson, Danielle Rebel Schaffrath, Amy Elaine Schaufelberger, Ashley Lauren Scott, and last but not least, Lydia Christine Wente.
Let them return to their seats. Agricultural communication degree holders, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Congratulations. Next, I'd like to introduce Professor Walter Hurley, who is the Program Director for the Agricultural Education Program, and he will present those degree recipients.
Thank you, Dean Kramer. If the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science of Agricultural Education and Master of Science of Agricultural Education will come up to the stage. Randy Kraft, our Teaching Associate and Undergraduate Advising Coordinator, will read the names.
The Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Education, Tommy Amal. Sarah Ann Carson. Catherine M. King. Molly Jo Maxted. Emma May Meyer. Kayla Morgan Meyer. Erin Marie Peterson. Catherine Marie Pilcher. Kayla Nicole Potter. Nicole Leslie Rich. Lee Miles Brinker. Angie Marie Schoenbein. Jonna Renee Thompson. Nicole Denise Young. The Masters of Science students, George Leland Bunting. Candace Lynn Miller. Aspen M. Purtle.
A lot of hands to shake. Okay. Ag Ed degree holders, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Congratulations. I'd now like to introduce Professor Neil Merchant, who is the head of the Department of Animal Sciences.
Thank you, Dean Kramer. Will the candidates for degrees from the Department of Animal Sciences please approach the stage? Parents, family members, faculty, staff, students, and friends of the College of ACES, it's with considerable pride and great pleasure that I present to you candidates for 2012 degrees from the Department of Animal Sciences. Candidates for bachelor's degrees will be introduced by Dr. David Miller, Coordinator of Undergraduate Programs for the department.
Amanda Lauren Adcock. Ariel Megan Alley. Rebecca Susanna Anderson. Rebecca Elise Bain. Margaret Anna Barron. Laura Danielle Beardsley. Melissa Christine Belt. Rebecca Lynn Berkowitz. Michelle Mason Bigelow. Kayla Elise Carnahan. Gustavo A. Chavoya. Jennifer Lynn Chorba. Nicole Marie Diekey. Shrija Desai. Scott Delay. Catherine Patricia Downs. Molly Flaxen Durland. Rachel Hewitt Dwyer. Matthew L. Ewing. Jessica Noel Fuentes. Stephanie Ann Gable. Lindsay Marie Garner. Maureen D. Getty. Robert Constantine Gray, Jr. Jessica Ann Habercorn. Samantha Nicole Hartwig. Morgan Brittany Helfrich. Kelsey Catherine Hendry. Stephanie Horton. Rachel Marie Jack. Haley Marie Jones. Jillian N. Juna. Tiffany Claire Canal. James Joseph Carnia. Yuri Kim. Valerie Rini Klein. Justina N. Kaler. Joyce Yi Lee. Mallory Michelle Light. Andrew Gardner Lindgren. Kelsey Lynn Little. Eldon Samuel Mackinson. Margaret Ann Malinowski. Christine E. Mallow. Kelsey Marie Mattern. Sarah Marie Mayo. Laura Ann McCormick. Joan McKean. Chelsea Danielle Mendola. W. Chance Mateer. Coralie Tess Marie Morrow. Stephanie Therese Munyon. Mara Jean Nix. Jessica Caitlin Nuri. Alyssa D. Ortega. Shannon Lindsay Ortiz Kofod. Sarah Marie Azawa. Stephanie Lynn Palumbo. Allison Christine Picken. Amy Elizabeth Poskin. Elizabeth Marie Preston. Kalila Renee Purcell. Abigail Paloma Mia Ramirez. Benjamin Robert Rapson. Cara Lynn Richmond. Drew K. Ritgarn. Danielle Elizabeth Robinson. Kelly A. Rose. Anna Rybchenko. Jacob William Shanks. Catherine Lee Schaus. Teresa Ann Schecker. Patricia Seal. Mihoko Siki. Melissa Schneider. Alicia Snyder, pardon me. Elise Rebecca Shepley. Avinash Badarshan Singh. Lindsay Ann Sinowski. Katie Maureen Sinan. Amanda Jean Starr. Ronald Stewart Jr. Kelsey Stocks. Michelle Sarah Ava Spara. Lindsay Caitlin Tanner. Tanisha Christine Taylor. Colleen Rose Vanna. Caitlin Faith Vicari. Daisy Villa. Jiameng Wang. Catherine Brooke Wiedekamp. Lauren Renee Welker. Sarah Westergaard. Wendy Elizabeth Wise. Jennifer Dawn Zuber. Next, I'd like to introduce Brian White, Dr. Brian White, who is the graduate coordinator for Animal Sciences.
It's my distinct pleasure to introduce our candidates for the Master of Science and for the Doctor of Philosophy degree. I'd also ask that the faculty from the Department of Animal Sciences, they're going to be hooding, please present themselves to the stage. Our first candidate for the Master of Science degree is Malik Akhtar. Malik did his PhD with Sandra Rodriguez-Zaz in the area of bioinformatics. Our next candidate is Kelly Bland. Kelly Bland did her master's degree with Carl Parsons in the area of poultry nutrition. Shi Zhen. Shi Zhen also did her master's with Carl Parsons in the area of poultry nutrition. And Tara Davis, 3 in a row from Dr. Parsons' lab, and doing her degree in poultry nutrition. Victoria Ermolova, who did her master's degree with Professor Romana Nowak in the area of reproductive biology. Sijan Fazal. Sijan did his PhD with Sandra Rodriguez-Oz in the area of bioinformatics. Brianna Kiever. Brianna did her master's degree with Anna Dilger in the area of meat science. Muhammad Khan. Muhammad Khan worked with Juan Lohr in the area of dairy nutrition. Kenneth Porter. Kenneth did his master's degree with Sandra Rodriguez-Oz in the area of bioinformatics. Oscar Martinez. Oscar worked with Hans Stein in the area of swine nutrition. Ahmed Sajik, who did his master's degree with Professor Rodriguez-Oz, also in the area of bioinformatics. Kurhan Shahzad, who did his master's degree with Juan Lohr in the area of bioinformatics and pork. And finally, our last master of candidate, Kristen Walker. Kristen Walker did her master's degree with Jonathan Beaver in the area of beef cattle genomics. And now the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy degree. Julan Chun. Julan did her degree with Dr. Janice Barr and Dr. Susanna Berry Miller in the area of reproductive biology, and she will be hooded by Dr. Barr, I believe. And also Dr. Suzanne Berry Miller. Our next candidate for the Doctor of Philosophy degree is Trevor Faber. Trevor did his PhD with Dr. George Fahey, who will also be hooding him today in the area of comparative animal nutrition. Our next candidate is Marcela Guevara Subija, who also did his degree with Dr. George Fahey in the area of companion animal nutrition, and Dr. Fahey will also be hooding him. Yeah. Okay. Our next candidate is Peng Ji. Peng Ji did his PhD with Jim Drakely in the area of dairy nutrition. Jim could not be here today, so Professor Merchant will be hooding him. Our next candidate is Yonghong Liu, who did his PhD with Jim Pettigrew in the area of swine nutrition. And I believe Dr. Pettigrew will be hooding him. Our next candidate is Jason York. Jason did his PhD with Gregory Freund in the area of neuroimmunology, and Dr. Freund will be doing the hooding. And our final candidate for the PhD degree is Yi Yan. Yi Yan did his PhD with Rebecca Treischer and Matt Wheeler will be doing the hooding today.
Animal Sciences degree holders, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Congratulations. I'd now like to introduce Professor Brian Deers, who is representing the Department of Crop Sciences.
Thank you, Dean Kramer. I'm happy to be here representing the Department of Crop Sciences, which has programs both in crop sciences as well as horticulture. I would like the candidates to please approach the stage. The names of the undergraduate candidates will be read by Dr. Fred Kolb, who is the undergraduate program coordinator in the Department of Crop Sciences.
Good afternoon. I'm pleased and privileged to present the following candidates for the Bachelor of Sciences degree in Crop Sciences and Horticulture. The following students are candidates for the BS in Crop Sciences. Alex Benjamin Brohammer. Haley Ann Bunzelmeyer. Jessica A. Dane. Ryan Patrick DeWolf. Christine Elizabeth Drosty. Jonathan Michael Flashman. Wayne Allen Gerke. Sadie Joe Geiger. John Lowell Marshall. Whitney Brooke Massey. Samuel Andrew Moses. Cord Ryan Nolte. Cody Keith Poston. Drake Taylor Robards. Preston Marshall Schrader. Jeremiah Dale Shaner. Eric Kenneth Shelby. Elizabeth Marie Seidel. Hannah Elizabeth Stites. Clayton Aaron Stuffelbeam. Janelle Marie Trantz. Nicholas William Urish. Rachel Ann Vandenberg. Caitlin Nicole Wiedekamp. Joshua Ben Woolen. Jacob Patrick Whiffles. The following students are candidates for the BS in Horticulture. Callan William Beeson. Jane Marie Christensen. Matthew Gordon Dingledine. Nathan Philip Fassel. Tahir Ibrahim. Michael J. Kwiatek. And Anna Malinowski. Brianne Joe Swigart. Benton Eugene Williams. Please join me in congratulating the Bachelor of Science graduates in Crop Sciences and Horticulture. Dr. Jack Juvick, Graduate Coordinator in Crop Sciences, will now present the MS and PhD candidates from Crop Sciences.
It's my distinct pleasure to be able to present to you this afternoon the MS and PhD students in the Department of Crop Sciences. And we'll start with Ross Randall Bender. Ross's advisor was Fred Bilo, and he's working with nutrient uptake and partitioning in high-yielding corn. Our next master's candidate is James J. DeDecker. James' advisor was Professor John Masunas, and he worked on selection of weed management practices among Midwest organic growers. Our third candidate is Nicholas Edwin Hausman, who was advised by Aaron Hager. He worked on the characterization of herbicide resistance in water hemp. Our next candidate, Sue Min Kim, was advised by D.K. Lee, and she worked on polyploid evolution in Spartina pectinata. Our next candidate is Arshan Nasir, who is receiving a BS in bioinformatics, was advised by Professor Gustavo Catano Anolis, and worked on the origin of viruses revealed by a genomic study of protein domain structures. Next, we have Jennifer Ossiol, who was advised by Professor Michael Pleva, and she works on the in vitro toxicology of complex mixtures of carbon capture byproducts. Next, we have our last master's candidate is Joshua James Skelton, who was advised by Professor Bruce Branham and worked on post-emergence control of annual bluegrass with mesotrione in Kentucky bluegrass. Okay, and now we have our pleasure of introducing our PhD candidates in the Department of Crop Sciences. And our first is Carolyn Marie Bonin. She's going to be hooded by her advisor, Brian Deers, and she worked on the evaluation of soybean aphid resistance, yield QTL confirmation, and genetic gain in soybeans. Our second PhD candidate is Bernarda Kalla. Bernarda is hooded by her advisor, Professor Steve Clow, and she works on host and pathogen genomics, the molecular repertoire of soybean and sclerotinia interactions. Our next candidate is Bhupinder Singh Pamaha. He's hooded by his advisor, Professor Fabian Hernandez. And Bhupinder worked on soybean growth under strip and no-till management with broadcast and subsurface band fertilization. Next, we have Andrew Lloyd Hawk, who was advised by Professor Martin Bond. His advisor is on sabbatical right now, so I think I'll ask our department head, or our acting department head, to hood him. Basically, he worked with the evaluation of additive and not additive genetic variation in elite maize germplasm for root, shoot, and ear characteristics. Our next candidate for PhD is Xinyi Marzano, hooded by her advisor, Professor Darren Eastburn. She worked with the assessment of disease suppression in organic transitional cropping systems. Our next candidate is Timothy Ignatius Pruski, hooded by his advisor, Brian Deers. His dissertation was evaluation and characterization of QTL controlling seed composition in soybean and breeding for resistance to sudden death syndrome in soybeans. Our next candidate is Xiaoqun Sun. He will be hooded by his advisor, Professor Rita Mom. And Sun worked with models and methods for computer simulation as a resource in plant breeding. Our next candidate is Ramya Vital. Ramya is hooded by her advisor, Professor Glenn Hartman. Ramya worked on the detection of viable uridine spores and morphological characterization of soybean genotypes susceptible and resistant to Phacospora pachyrizae. And our final PhD candidate in the Department of Crop Sciences is Guyang Zhang, hooded by her advisor, Professor Carl Bradley. She works with Cerospora sagina, overwinter survival, and fungicide resistance. So I want to congratulate all of our graduates from the Department of Crop Sciences.
Crop Sciences degree holders, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Congratulations. Wonderful. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Fei Dong, who is the head of the Department of Food Science and Human Nutrition.
Thank you very much, Dean Kramer. Will the extraordinary students in the Department of Food Science and Human Nutrition please come to the stage? I'm very pleased to present the class of 2012 to you. They are getting degrees, undergraduate degrees in dietetics, food science, food industry and business, hospitality management, and human nutrition. The individual who will be reading the names of the undergraduates is Dr. Nikki Ingeseth, who is the associate head in our department.
It is my pleasure to present the candidates for the Bachelor of Science degree in the Department of Food Science and Human Nutrition. Shahrazad Bent Hussein Abdul Qudus. Mora Elizabeth Allison. Carla Andres. Elia Ayala. Excuse me. Sarah Pearl Osmus. Nicole Colette Babbitt. Sarah Kathleen Berglund. Sarah Elizabeth Bosley. Christy Joe Bunk. Chad Daniel Burstein. Graciela Cabrales. Donald Ryan Chan. Hemi Choi. Jeannie Darlene Choi. Evelyn Xiao Ting Chow. Ellen Rose Condra. Jacob Taylor Cross. Amanda Nicole Dominguez. James Patrick Driscoll. Rachel Ellen Eckhoff. Sandra Denise Philippe. Caleb D. Flannery. Christina Caitlin Flores. Catherine Emily Georginas. Amanda Victoria Marie Gertz. Tegan Nolene Gomez. Anita M. Gonzalez. Emily Louise Green. Jordan David Grievous. John Matthew Gruber. Kathleen Ann Harsh. Christina Maria Hold. Calvin Itt. Christina Ann Jablonski. Han Wool Jeong. Catherine Johnson. Patricia Jones. Rebecca Marie Kane. Wei Kong. Andrea Diana Kazanowski. Sarah Catherine Kenny. Cynthia Marie Coe. Colleen Elizabeth Kohler. Lauren Catula. Amanda Jane Krause. Daniel Joseph Krause. Natalie Mary Labanco. Kristen L. Black. Ji Soo Lee, Karen Lee, Kaisha Ladante Lewis, Xiaochuan Yu, Andrew Lohman, William Trenton Lyons, Danielle Francesca Mock, Charles E. Mack, Samantha J. Mauger, Elizabeth Clarice Maloff, Ying Meng, Anthony J. Morano, Juliet Morris, Marissa E. Moser, Rosemary E. Nash, Adam Michael Nessel, Bridget Nicole O'Neill, Jeremy Sanjo Park, Ashley Maureen Pickard, Allison Marie Pilcher, John Pilmer, Elizabeth Ann Pletch, Francisca Ponyman, Casey Lynn Pontarelli, Citra Putri Radharjo, Elizabeth Christine Reynolds, Michelle Maria Rodriguez, Kaylee Ann Scott, Lauren Ann Cisco, Melissa Ann Sorrells, Christina Francis Stahl, Danny Stewart Salzberger, Lauren Marie Shramiak, Jessica Marie Tischler, Tyler Michael Tishida, Brittany Lynn Urbanus, Guadalupe Vasquez, Marissa A. Vasquez, Erin Elizabeth Yvonne Vogan, Kenesha Ashley Walker, Benjamin Michael Werner, Brett Thomas Witten, Stephanie Jane Wong, Jenny Young, and Claire Elizabeth Zollner. Congratulations to the Bachelor of Science candidates. I would now like to introduce Dr. Elizabeth Jeffrey, who will be presenting the Master of Science and the Doctor of Philosophy candidates from Food Science and Human Nutrition.
Good afternoon. It's my very distinct pleasure to present to you the candidates for the degree of Masters of Food Science and Human Nutrition. Ingrid Jorud received her master's working with Hong Chen in the area of gene-nutrition interaction in cancer prevention. Melissa Pindle-Ricklad is an extramural student, and Farida Qadri was also an extramural student. Champaign Su received his degree working with Dr. Padua on flavor encapsulation with corn protein. Paulina Suyanto received her degree working with Dr. Arts on plant antioxidants to protect meat from spoilage. Chao Wang received her master's working with Dr. Suyen Lee, making low-sodium food taste better. We need more people like her. And Chao Si Wei received her degree working with Dr. Jin, making biofuels from yeast. I'd now like to introduce to you the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Food Science and Human Nutrition. Jenna Kramer got her work working with me on the improvement of health effects of broccoli, and I'll have the pleasure of hooding her. Vermont Deer got his degree working with Dr. De Mejia, who will hood him, and he worked on soy protein prevention of colon cancer. Oh, thank you. Heather Gibbs received her degree under Dr. Chapman Novakoski, working on improving nutrition education, something we all need, maybe. Yawapa Lorjaran Pon received her degree working with Dr. Cadwallader on the flavor of cola drinks. Peter Liu received his degree working with Dr. Erdmann to make methods to ensure we get the good health out of tomatoes. Jarapat Lucha received her degree working with Dr. Kokini on making very tiny or nano carriers out of corn protein. And last but not least, Interwood Supervorsatit received his degree working with Dr. Cadwallader on improving the flavor of soy.
Food Science and Human Nutrition degree holders, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Congratulations.
Wonderful.
I'd now like to invite Professor Robert Hughes to the podium. Dr. Hughes is the head of the Department of Human and Community Development. He is also our second department head to be doing double duty today. His son Andrew will be receiving a degree from the College of ACES as well.
Would the candidates for degrees in Human Development and Family Studies please come forward? This is the moment in the program when you glance at your watch and squirm in your seat, and the smallest of our guests lean over and whisper, "When will this be over?" With all the repetitious names and degrees, it's easy to become complacent and overlook the achievements of these young people, and it's hard to imagine the future that these young people will create. But consider this. 100 years ago, my grandfather walked across the stage like this and graduated from the University of Illinois. And a few years later, my grandmother earned a degree in domestic science at Cornell University. I know that I would not be standing before you today if it were not for the lessons and values that they taught me. So imagine these young people. Think about what they will discover, what they will create. Think about the lives that they will touch. And maybe, just maybe, 100 years from today, on a beautiful spring day, their grandchildren or great-grandchildren will be remembering them and the difference they made. Dr. Jerry Walter will be reading the names of these graduates.
Thank you, Dr. Hughes. Good afternoon. It's a pretty good day for the middle of May. Say happy Mother's Day to the mothers in the crowd for tomorrow. It is my distinct honor and great pleasure to present to you candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science with a major in Human Development and Family Studies. Lauren Rachel Albanese. Grace Adelaide Anderson. Katerina B. Andreeva. Ariel Belk. Rebecca J. Belvisi. Anna Elizabeth Beyer. Rita A. Botbol. Dana Michelle Bronstein. Bridget Ann Buffington. Stephanie Ann Ladrera Kamba. Lindsay May Caplet. Felix Cardoso. Allison Carlson. Danielle Chester. Stephanie Marie Shirelli. Jamie Beth Schmeller. Carly Elizabeth Cody. Aaron R. Cohen. Emily DeWeert. Erin Elise Donnenberg. Hannah Wild Ehrenberg. Gabrielle Renee Fairbairn. Jacob A. Feeney. Kimberly Finnegan. Adriana Nicole Friday. Nicole Gross. David James Hefke. Andrew Hughes. Catherine Christine Jesselnick. Lauren Michelle Johns. Daya Esther Kang. Jessica Marie Kralovic Kircher. Jessica V. Croyne. Adriana Dominique Lampkins. Emily Marie Lozo. Marissa Elizabeth Moore. Maddie Ray Myers. Stephanie Lee Newman. Marinda Salida O'Brien. Bridget P. O'Connor. Carla Isabel Ortiz Flores. Stephanie C. Otua. Kea Patel. Jessica Marie Perry. Sarah Beth Pearson. Veronica Hannah Pritz. Sarah Patricia Puchalski. Excuse me. Brittany Erin Rasky. Margaret Maloney Ruddy. Sarah M. Severson. Carolyn Marie Shadas. Carissa Catherine Stangarone. Kimberly Anna Thompson. Jennifer Lynn Wattis. Margaret Eileen Walsh. Latrice Chanel Willis. Stephanie Tricia Yang. And Joshua James Yergler. Please join me in congratulating these degree candidates. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Ramona Faith Oswald, our Director of Graduate Studies, to present the candidates for advanced degrees.
Thank you, Dr. Walter. I am delighted to present today our candidates for the doctoral degree in Human and Community Development. First, we have Jennifer M. Engel, whose advisor was Dr. Nancy McElwain. Jennifer's research was about parental depression and the quality of marriage and how that relates to the children's well-being. Our next candidate is Faye Hadza, who's completed his degree with Dr. Sua Kwan. Faye's research investigated the ideologies of providing care for homeless youth and how that influences social service practice in rural communities. And last but not least, we have Vanya Lazarovich. She's co-advised by Drs. Marcella Raffaelli and Angela Wiley, and Vanya's research was about the effects of immigration on the quality of family relationships of young adults. Congratulations.
Okay, Human and Community Development degree holders, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Congratulations. Excellent. I'd now like to introduce Professor Jeffrey Braun, who is the head of the Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Sciences.
Good afternoon. I'd like to invite the recipients from Natural Resources and Environmental Sciences of the bachelor's and graduate degrees to please approach the platform. Also, any faculty who are involved with welcoming the students or hooding the students also approach the platform. The candidates for the bachelor's degrees, their names will be read by Professor Robert Darmody, who's Director of Undergraduate Programs, and the graduate degree names will be read by Dr. Michelle Wander.
It's my pleasure to introduce the Bachelor of Science degrees in Natural Resources and Environmental Sciences. Rachel Ann Atwell, Rebecca Bannerman, Matthew Borden, Cody Buffican, Giovanna M. Castillo, Renly Dorothy Castillo,
Morgan Patrick Davis, Kyle J. Erickson, Zoe Amelia Emmons, Laura Marie Fraz, Shiloh Golden, Nathaniel S. Griespan, Christopher Aaron Grease, Sarah Elizabeth Hyder, Wade Thomas Holcomb, Amy K. Keir, Jonathan Tyler Kono, Jamie Elizabeth Latch, Edmund King Ming Lai, Kira Liedberg, Deanne Luckett, Rachel A. Luttrell, Craig Stephen Mack, Christoph Makowski, Ashley D. Marcanzi, Sarah Elizabeth Menning, Neil Jameson Mitchell, Margaret Grace Nargian, Catherine Owen, Miles William Pauley, Adam Perry, Lisa Marie Rieger, Michael Tucker Richlack, Maureen Ann Schuer, Jessica Ann Vega, Mary Claire Upel, the degree recipients in Masters of Science and Doctor of Science from NRES degree department will be given by Dr. Michelle Wunder.
I would like to congratulate our NRES graduates and introduce the degree recipients for the Masters of Science in NRES, beginning with John Daniel Griesbaum, who did his research on grassland snakes with Chris Phillips. Dongfang Li did her research on the microbial ecology of associates of Miscanthus with Angela Kent. Kaylee Major did her research on aquatic invertebrate genetics with Dave Suchek. And Scott Rose did his work on the ecology of garlic mustard with Dr. Tony Andres. Next, I would like to present the recipients of the PhD degree in NRES, beginning with Whitney Joanna Banning Anthony Sami, and she worked on the conservation of freshwater fish with Chris Phillips, who will be hooding her. And next I would like to introduce Lima Faradine, and she did her work on local knowledge and risk perception in watersheds with Dr. Courtney Flint, and she will be hooded by her husband, Fouad Abd El Khaldik. And finally, Mark Allen Davis, who did his work on evolutionary ecology of rattlesnakes, who will be hooded by Michael Collier. Congratulations, NRES grads.
Okay, Natural Resources and Environmental Sciences degree holders, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Congratulations. Very good. Finally, the Division of Nutritional Science degree holders will be introduced by Professor Rod Johnson.
Good afternoon. Will the candidates for degrees in nutritional sciences please come forward? The Division of Nutritional Sciences is an interdisciplinary graduate program candidates receive the Master of Science degree or the PhD degree. Dr. Jessica Hartke, the Assistant Director of the division, will present the 2012 candidates.
Thank you. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the candidates for the MS and PhD degrees in nutritional sciences. I would invite to the stage all of our faculty hooders and any other DNS faculty in the audience that would like to help us congratulate our degree recipients. We'll start with our MS degree candidates. Kimberly Danielle Cephas. Kimberly was advised by Dr. Kelly Swanson. Her research was on the effect of fiber source on intestinal structure and function in obese mice. Shuan Chen. Shuan was advised by Dr. Juan Luer. His research was on the effect of diet and supplementation on metabolism of dairy cows. Amy K. McInnes. Amy was co-advised by Dr. Sharon Donovan and Dr. Sue Lee. Her research was on the influence of environment and parenting style on picky eating behaviors in toddlers. Jennifer L. Rytek. Jennifer was advised by Dr. Rodney Johnson. Her research was on iron deficiency and spatial learning in neonatal piglets. And now for our PhD degree candidates. Shelley Nicole Hester. Shelley was advised by Sharon Donovan. Her research was on the impact of formula additives on immune and gastrointestinal development in the piglet. She's being hooded by Dr. Donovan. Hannah Diane Holscher. Hannah was advised by Dr. Kelly Tappenden. Her research was on the role of probiotics, prebiotics, and human milk oligosaccharides in infant formula. She's being hooded by Dr. Tappenden. Melissa Marie Kazmarzik. Melissa was co-advised by Drs. Greg Freund and Mike Miller. Her research was on the modulation of biobehaviors and diabesity by dietary factors. She's being hooded by Drs. Freund and Dr. Miller. Catherine Rose Kerr. Katie was advised by Dr. Kelly Swanson. Her research focused on the nutritional evaluation of raw meat and whole prey diets for domestic and exotic cats. She's being hooded by Dr. Swanson. Naman Oscar Khan. Naman was advised by Dr. Sharon Donovan. His research focused on the diet and media components related to adiposity in children. He's being hooded by Dr. Donovan. Henna Musafar. Henna was advised by Dr. Karen Chapman-Novakovsky. Her project was called the HOT Project, Healthy Outcomes for Teens. It was an online intervention for the prevention and treatment of obesity and type 2 diabetes. Emily J. Tomeko. Emily was advised by Dr. Ken Weiland. Her research focused on diet and lifestyle interventions to improve conditions of chronic kidney disease. She's being hooded by Dr. Barb Udell. Sonia Evelyn Volker. Sonia was advised by Dr. Elizabeth Jeffrey. Her research was on broccoli bioactives, impact on enzymes, estrogen metabolism, and human cancer cell growth. She's being hooded by Dr. Jeffrey. And our final degree candidate, Gabriel Josiah Wilson. Gabe was advised by Dr. Don Lehman. His research was on protein quality and distribution in anabolic signaling, cellular energetics, and body composition. He's being hooded by Dr. Lehman. Please join me in congratulating all of our degree recipients.
Division of Nutritional Sciences degree holders, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Congratulations. Graduates, you are ready for what the future will hold. You've completed an excellent undergraduate curriculum or graduate curriculum with broad education and that has prepared you for that all-important first job or graduate school or wherever you're going next. And you've supplemented your coursework with research experiences and meaningful off-campus opportunities. I'm proud to report that more than 80% of our undergraduates got an early look at the real world by participating in one or more internships. Our students have worked with a multitude of corporations, not-for-profit organizations, and schools across the state of Illinois and in such exciting locations as St. Louis, Indianapolis, and Washington, D.C. Your leadership and civic engagement has been outstanding. 1/3 of this class included a study abroad experience in their undergraduate education, and that makes this class one of the most traveled classes in the history of the college. You've logged thousands of miles to earn academic credit and receive memorable portions of your education. You've been globetrotters, studying and working in more than 40 countries spanning 5 continents. You have the knowledge to contribute to a global society. You appreciate other cultures and economies, but you also understand your own abilities and aspirations as you take your place in society. We are proud of each one of you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in one more round of applause for our graduates. College of ACES is incredibly proud of all of you. An event of this magnitude can only happen with the assistance of many people. Special thanks go to my administrative team, to the faculty and staff who served in a variety of capacities, including our 2 banner carriers, Dr. Bob Scriven, Professor Emeritus of Horticulture, and Dr. Walt Hurley, Professor of Animal Sciences and Program Director of Agricultural Education. I want to also thank our musicians, the Aduro Brass Quintet. Very lovely. And we are incredibly grateful to the ACES Alumni Association for their support. Who enjoyed Tassel Turn today? Isn't that great? And I want to thank my colleagues in ACES academic programs, many of whom are helping today. I'd especially like to thank Sarah Adams for all the work that she does. She basically starts from tomorrow to get next year's graduation ceremony in shape. And a special thanks to Jenny Neff. This is the last graduation ceremony that Jenny will be helping us with the college. She's moving on to a new position in Central Campus Career Services. We're very proud of her and very thankful. Can I get a round of applause for Jenny? Thank you. Today is commencement, the beginning of a new chapter, a career, a lifetime of contribution to society. We pledge to you that we will always hold high the ideals of the University of Illinois so that your education here will increase in value. We ask only that you do the same. We wish you the very best. Nora Ephron, one of my favorite writers, said, "Your education is a dress rehearsal for a life that is yours to lead." Well, the dress rehearsal is now officially over. Welcome to the best years of your lives. The first act begins now. Now, let us conclude our convocation by standing and singing Illinois, and this will be led by Dr. Janice Barr.
As we complete this wonderful ceremony today, please join in the singing of a very popular Illinois song, Hail to the Orange.
Thank you. Congratulations to all of you. If you'd be please seated, we'll begin the recessional. Congratulations.
It's not fast enough. A-train? Take the A-train. It's real close.
It's also Elgin.
What?
Elgin for Alex.
Take the A-train.
Is this in for? No. Not ready yet. Nope.
Grab your seat, trumpeter. Back to 21. 2, and